the nose. It's hard.
I hate that you called it a nose.
I didn't.
Is that
Well, I didn't want to call it a mouth because the sound
That's
I just
worse.
made.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, now is when we're gonna start the recording. Not before that.
okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Scott, what do you hate?
Oh man, I hate it when you're putting on your shirt and there's a fish hook in it, and your fish hook gets stuck into you.
You stole mine.
What?
Sucks.
Dang it, dude!
You should have told me.
How do we have the same?
You
one?
should have told me.
You guys
the
hate
same
the
one.
same thing.
We have
Jordan,
the
what do you
same
hate?
one.
I hate when I hear kids
quick.
cussing.
Think quick. No, I
I
can't.
know. I'm thinking so fast.
No, what do you hate?
You
already done?
You don't hate when they do cuss. These are what you think they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, elaborate on that.
No. No, I'm done.
The J.K. Rowling's tweets.
The tweets it's themselves.
Her tweets.
Or
Yeah,
just- okay, yeah,
her
yeah.
tweets are annoying.
That was really
I thought,
fast.
I
never
thought
followed
really
follower?
fast. No, I just see
Okay.
them because people make fun of her
Look
because
them
they're all
up
real
and-
bad.
Okay.
Memes.
I don't know your meme world, man. We come
No,
from
you
different
don't.
worlds.
We come from
J.K.
very different
Rowling,
worlds.
current J.K. Rowling is now known for adding different elements to the Harry Potter story as canon, just so she can get some political and social clout, like saying.
For example,
that,
everyone's gay.
yeah,
Like
stuff
Dumbledore
like
is
that.
How do
gay.
they reproduce?
They
That's an appropriate first question to ask.
By everyone's gay, I was exaggerating. I didn't actually.
Okay.
But she
everyone's
basically
gay.
Okay.
everyone that
Dumbledore is.
Yes,
I recall.
that's
That
that's
was
one
added.
thing she retroactively did.
Yes.
And then everyone else that wasn't in a heterosexual relationship at the end of the Harry Potter books is now gay.
It's convenient.
Yeah, it's real convenient.
it's canon now.
Now,
so.
yeah. Now, how did she justify not putting it in the books? Isn't that like the opposite? of
Because
political
she's
crime?
like, I figured you guys would just know that because I wrote them so well. She's just trying to act
It's
like
crazy that you
she's...
just have J.K. Rowling tweet quotes just ready to get laid on the table.
Word for word.
I don't.
Word for word.
I
That's
don't.
crazy.
Well, Jordan, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
welcome back.
I'm very glad to be back. I was just like living alone. So and
I don't know.
I was never
I don't know how
invited
you
back,
guys
so.
don't remember this, but Scott was the one that left. He just went on vacation, but he's back now,
yeah,
and everything is normal again.
I'm just so glad I'm back as a guest for now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then now I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very I don't know what movie it happens, but when like Thanos wins, and then like the movie ends, that's how I felt.
Mission Impossible 2.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I've seen that. That's Too Fast, Too Furious.
That's the one
Yeah.
you're talking about, right?
Mission Impossible 2 Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Too Fast, Too Drift, Tokyo.
2.
Yeah, okay.
2.
I accept this
Ratatouille.
as the same as equally as true as your quotes of J.K. Rowling's tweets. I accept this.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So
Yeah. Well, thanks for filling in for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we drinking today?
This is LaCroix.
Ugh.
You didn't have my
I
flavor,
actually
so I
don't
brought my
remember.
own. I got key lime. The key
What
lime
flavor
really bumps it
What
up.
flavor do we have?
Lime?
Just lime.
Lime.
We don't have the key.
Is that like a peasant flavor that I'm too rich to know about? No. Key lime.
We
is the
don't
way to
have
go.
key lime.
We don't have
We
the
just have
key, so-
lime. I hate LaCroix still.
What's the difference between key lime and lime?
One of them's from Florida.
The difference is key.
Is that actually
Key
true?
West? Anybody?
Is that
That's just a place in Florida. I don't know.
was a bad joke.
Yeah, you're
God.
Go
dumb.
get mine on the
You're
rewatch.
stupid. What?
Future Noah. All right.
What?
Nah, you'll see.
What happened?
Nothing.
Anyway, so Scott's back because we wanted him to be back.
That's
That's what I'm saying.
Hi,
We
welcome.
wanted me to be back. Your
Well-
guest.
I sorry I switched.
We
those.
wanted
Yeah.
you to be back.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 20.
We hate things.
Congrats, we made it to 20. Us.
We're
Congrats
double
to
digits.
us. We can finally be. Wait. We've been double digits for a while.
Double
now.
digits.
Okay. We have a little bit of a special episode this week. Scott, now that he's back from vacation, are we doing this bit? Now that he's back
That's not
from
how you do a
vacation,
bit, man.
that was part of my bit.
Okay.
That was a meta bit.
Is this also part of your bit?
Oh gosh.
This wasn't.
Yeah, okay.
You're here though,
Keep
so
going.
that happened.
Keep going.
No. Tell the people. Tell the people about your bit.
What are you doing?
I'm going for the questions for when we talk about the book that we read.
We read a book. Welcome. It's what we're gonna talk about. A little bit of Tuesdays with Morrie, which is a book we've talked about on here before, and we're gonna start this conversation on this, and then move it to Scott's new podcast, because he's gonna be starting one soon. So we're gonna have a part of or most of a conversation here, and then move it over there and whatever. But it'll be pretty
Fun
normal.
time.
But we'll be talking about Tuesdays, a part of Tuesdays with Morrie.
Yes.
Yeah.
One
And which part is that? You did not respond the 3 times I asked.
I told you multiple times.
You told me multiple chapters one time.
Is that true? Did you never?
No.
Tell? I
Bring
never-
out the text thread!
When we read D&D, you said which one, and I said and I
It was
going back
between
and forth
fear of
between
aging
and
and
money,
money.
and I was like, I'm gonna say fear of aging.
You did not say
I
that.
said that.
I
I
had
read
to-
both and took quotes
I
from
had
both.
to text him yesterday to make
Okay.
sure.
I was
So-
gonna text him,
I
but I
never
texted
told
him
you.
3 times,
Uh-huh.
and so I figured, what's another gonna do? Give me an
Yeah, that's
answer?
true.
So I just did both. It was faster.
Let me. I don't remember
You don't have
texting
to
me.
check because he's
when
right.
the camera's gonna turn off in 30 minutes. We'll check it then.
I just didn't
He
happen.
has to check now
Yeah.
because
When he's right.
It didn't happen. I just checked.
he's right.
I just checked. It didn't happen.
There's too many. Just too quick to be able to read all those texts. There's too many texts.
Too many. Sorry.
Yep.
So I've
We'll
never,
check. We'll get back.
I've
Yeah.
never read this book before, but I read this.
Really?
Yeah, I've never.
Oh,
read
it's
it.
I've been
great.
telling you to read it for a very long time.
I don't have it. I don't have that.
Well, good for you to stick in for your guns.
You can
Don't
borrow
let him
mine.
peer pressure you into
Nope,
anything.
Never.
You can borrow mine. I bought a second copy just so people could borrow it.
Don't
Yeah.
you let me peer pressure you into not getting peer pressured.
But you're peer pressuring me not to
There's
peer
a-
pressure,
There's a little gray area.
not to peer pressure.
The little gray area called the fear of aging.
Okay.
All
There we
right.
go.
Okay.
Good transition.
The fear of aging is the chapter in this book.
So,
That was unrelated.
I have about a quarter of the amount on the fear of aging that I do money. A lot
Okay.
of thoughts on money.
great.
Okay. We could do. I mean, we could do both. How about? I mean, we could do one here and then one on yours. So
Oh,
that-
yeah,
that-
whatever.
Sure.
And
So we decided you're not going to be together in mine, but we'll figure it out.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true. That's true.
We'll figure it out.
This isn't the time. Announcements period is over.
That's
when
very
and
true.
when and where can all of our fans find you?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get it up next week. It's called the Practice Podcast Project, and you can find it on hopefully like
There's a semicolon in
Spotify.
there.
I haven't. I'm sure it's gonna be colon or semicolon. So once again, not the time. We can go through
That's true.
my other possible titles. I had like 25 possible names.
Can we go through them all?
Right now?
A lot of them are
Highlights.
embarrassing.
Okay.
The brainstorm period
Yeah.
is yeah.
Ours took about 3
yeah,
seconds.
once the camera hits 30 minutes, he'll check his phone. I'll try to find it on mine.
We'll be
make it
great.
happen. It'll be great.
It'll
Yeah.
be wonderful.
We'll have a phone break,
I got a fish hook in my arm,
Oh, yes.
and I hate that.
and he
Oh, we
hates
forgot
that.
to. Yeah, we forgot to say that when you said your thing.
I got it. There was a fish hook stuck in my shirt somehow. It's this one right here. There's a fish hook right here.
Yeah, that happened to his arm.
But in my arm, it was stuck in my shirt somehow, and I put my shirt on, and it got stuck in my arm. But I'm fine now. I put peroxide and Neapolitan on it.
It was really funny because I showed up, and then 5 seconds later, he says, "Hey, I have a fish hook stuck in my arm," and he's just like on top of the stairs doing this, and I'm like,
And I was just like, and
Yeah.
I it's good to know that I can always rely on my mom, because when I said that, she kept texting, and then the next thing she did was say, well, this wouldn't happen if you hung your shirt up. So I'm all glad I can rely on my mom to help me when I'm in need.
so that was funny.
She didn't.
And then I told Scott right away when he
Yeah,
came in.
and now it's stuck on the table, but at least it's not in my arm.
It's really weird how naturally your mouth kind of fits on this thing.
I'm
Is that
not
what you're
liking
thinking
how
about?
much you're enjoying that.
Well, I'm not liking that you gave me a measuring cup. So
We didn't have any other cups, so
That happened last time too. I can't. How do you guys not remember this?
I just had my can. That would have been fine.
Nope.
I've been really wanting to get in like a big, loud, angry debate, and no one's taking the bait.
This isn't the place for it, and I'm not going to argue about LaCroix. I hate LaCroix.
LaCroix's worse than water, better than soda.
that's
I
what
don't
keep
drink
saying.
soda. I drink water.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'm-
worse than water.
Yeah, I'm better. So that's
You're
where I'm at.
better.
I'm
Oh,
better.
no, is this
So
how
this is a
you
value
interact
system.
with your own opinions? You're in a constant opinion fight about who's better because their opinions can be argued harder?
You don't?
Is that your life?
Yeah.
You're supposed to disagree. Come on, man. I'm dying over here.
You're just so desperate that you say, "Is this what you actually believe?"
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll be able to
I
do a
really hate
debate today.
Lacoma. That's not good. That is not good.
It's not that bad, dude.
I don't. It tastes. I would rather have water because it tastes like nothing. This tastes like something that's trying to taste like something else but fails.
Tastes better out of the can.
It's disappointing.
Is that true?
I think so.
Yeah. This is
why?
like.
What makes it taste better out of the can?
I don't know why.
I mean, we
My
poured this out of
experience
it came out of a can.
Yeah, but it tastes better out of the can.
Like when you're physically drinking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Still don't
aluminum feel of it.
Aluminum tastes pretty good.
All right, so we're gonna start on the.
Yes. No argument there. I'll give you that one.
There we go.
That's what I wanted to argue about.
Noah 1,
Dang
Scott
it.
3, probably.
Probably something like that.
I have been keeping track because I'm just so far ahead.
So yeah, you just stop keeping track.
It all started with that money laundering
My
conversation.
tagline is Scott Bruton quantity.
That's so weird, because mine's quality. That's crazy.
We're either terrible or great together on this thing, this podcast that we co-host.
Or we're just really bad at giving ourselves taglines.
No, I nailed it.
Okay.
Or just you're bad at it.
I might be.
Yeah.
So, but quality.
Okay.
I am quality.
Are you afraid of aging? Let me tell you what. That makes you a bad person, according to Morrie. let him tell you
Morrie
why. Go
Shorts.
ahead.
Wait, what? You're gonna drop that on me? I don't agree.
I'll pull this out. There's a podcast that I listened to. My first quote reminded me of this. And there's a live podcast. They brought someone on stage, and they said, "Who here is having the worst day?" So someone raised their hand. And they brought him up and said, he said that he got in this bad injury where he had to lay on a bed for 6 months and couldn't do anything. And so his parents bought him this really nice bed that's super comfortable. Mm-hmm. And then he got used to doing nothing, and then he healed enough to do stuff, but got too used to doing nothing, and then so he's just done nothing for the last year and a half.
Okay.
And that is my greatest fear in life, because I would absolutely do that.
That's terrifying.
A me move to the end. And to double on that terror, this chapter opens up by referencing that the one thing that Morrie didn't want to have to do is have someone else wipe him because he was too taken by his illness. He's dying. This guy's meeting him with every Tuesday. That's the book.
Yeah.
And he's giving him life advice.
I've explained the book before.
And
You'd know if you watched.
I don't assume anyone has seen this before.
Not at all.
It says that so this is the chapter where someone has to start doing everything for him, including wiping him. He says, "I began to enjoy my dependency. It's like going back to being a child again. We all know how to be a child, and it's inside of all of us. For me, it's just remembering how to enjoy it." It's terrifying.
That terrifies me.
That's absolutely terrifying.
That part of the chapter absolutely terrifies me.
Because the rest of it is very heartwarming.
Yeah.
This is not. This is
part
heart-holding.
is creepy. And
Yikes.
I don't ever want to get there.
Yeah. So you guys what terrifies you about it is that you don't want to be dependent on anyone? Is that what it is? Or that you can't do anything?
Not so much that, just I feel like I couldn't embrace that somebody doing everything for me. Morrie finds a way to embrace it. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, me neither. I am now having problems with dependency. I feel like I have to be independent about everything. His thing about how we like to be coddled and like to need stuff from other people because we wanted that as a kid. But as a kid, I guess I wanted that, but I also wanted to be independent very young. So, I guess it's still kind of a fear of mine to be dependent too much on someone. I guess.
On specific people or on just in anyone at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with dependency as a whole. I'm okay with depending on some people for certain things, But it's the thought of depending on somebody for everything that
absolute
scares me.
dependency.
The complete dependency. I can't do anything for myself other than breathe, essentially.
Yeah.
That's what scares me.
Embracing
But
it.
I suppose that I'm in Morrie's case, that's embracing it is like the best thing you can do, right? Because like for that guy that he's still, I assume, relatively young, the guy you were talking about, he still can do things. Morrie literally can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So in Morrie's case, I feel like embracing it might be the best way to go, even though right now that terrifies me. At that point in my life, I'm embracing it might be like the only way to find happiness again. So, what are your thoughts about all of this?
The thing that really makes life feel worth living for me is when I feel really impassioned about something, and when I feel like my internal life feels like, just go down the list of all the metaphors that everyone's ever used: light instead of darkness, a fire, those kinds of things. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be in a circumstance where I feel like I'm suffering, or circumstances become more and more negligible the more and more I feel like my internal life is in that state. And I can't have my internal life be there if my external life isn't also doing something.
Okay.
Because if I just ran on default mode, I wouldn't talk to anyone all day. I wouldn't do any, I would go and jump around from pleasure thing to pleasure thing. I just be on my phone and then go play a video game and then go do all these meaningless things if I wasn't being is this really what I want to do? And so my fear when I see this is when my body dies like that, because my circumstances are right now, my spirit will go along with it. Because if I live my life like that right now, my spirit's gone. There's basically, I'm a non-existent entity. I no longer exist in this world, and that's the only thing I definitely know I'm supposed to be doing is being an active agent in this world. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing that really freaked me out about it. But he seems to think the opposite's happening. He seems to he's surrounded by people who love him and who he loves, and he's sharing that with them.
But also that kind of ties into what he talks about later of he already lived his purpose in life.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Well, yeah, what you crave, he's already done. So I guess that he's accepted the fact that he's already done what everyone craves of being impassioned by something throughout life, and that's what gives you purpose. He's already lived out his purpose, and what he missed in his life is the fact that he was never surrounded by the people he loved, but now he has that, so he's trying to embrace it, kind of thing. The fact that he's just so happy about the physical touch that he's embracing. Mm-hmm. He would rather have that than be unhappy about doing nothing because he's already done a lot, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what I was gonna say. He's already lived his entire life, and he recognizes it's his time essentially. He's happy with the life he lived. For the most part, other than things like sometimes not everyone he loved was around him and everything, and he didn't have the best child life and stuff like that. But for the most part, he lived his life and he'd enjoyed it, and so now he's just trying to find that last piece of happiness because there's nothing else he can do.
I do agree with you though that if that happened to me now, that I would feel exactly the same.
Oh yeah,
my spirit would leave and I wouldn't find purpose
because we haven't lived a life. 20 years is nothing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And what, 43 now? Ish. 43 years?
Getting closer than last time you guessed. 28.
It's just, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
I know you don't.
You could be lying.
I know.
I genuinely have I think about it sometimes. I'm like, he's in his 20s probably.
I could be in my 30s.
Early 30s.
I could definitely be in my early 30s.
I
couldn't be in my mid-20s. It's either late 20s or early
late
30s.
20s, early
or
30s.
mid-30s, I could be in that. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say late 20s, early 30s.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many conclusions, guys. We're doing great.
Yeah. We're really nailing the whole... This is Philosophy.
This is thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah, thought-provoking. Yeah.
It's not about the quality of the conclusions.
No.
Quantity. There's another book called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, where a guy lost use of his entire body except for blinking his left eye. And then so they just had a person go with a pad of paper that had the alphabet, and they just went like that and waited for him to blink, and that's the letter. And he wrote an entire book that way.
Wow.
It's terrifying.
That's
also.
terrifying.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. It's about Diving Bell the Butterfly is that he feels like Diving Bell used to be this big bell-shaped piece of metal for diving, and if you wanted to go down, you would just
I've played Assassin's Creed 4.
go inside of it, and it held some air, and you would go down. It's heavy,
Okay.
and it takes you down, so you can breathe. And he's like, "This is my entire life now." It's
Thanks.
like, yeah, I picked up on that. It's my life now is like a diving bell. It's dark and just what's only immediately around me, but inside, he says that he feels like a butterfly. That because all of his attention is now focused inside, he can go off into past memories and remember going to trips to Paris with such detail and such specificity that he feels like he's there. He can relive meals, and he can taste the food that he used to have tasted because, or at least like relive the sensation to such an extent that he feels like he can taste it. Because all of his attention is so focused on the inside, his internal life just like came alive in that way.
Interesting.
That is very
So
interesting.
strange.
It still terrifies me.
Yeah.
But that is interesting.
It's weird. I can't even imagine what that would be like. You know? I feel like memory...
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all experience. Yeah, that's terrifying.
So if you're not scared right now, you're not following along. Quote number 2, someone throw it out.
No one is following along.
Yeah, no one's listening.
I have one actually.
Go ahead.
Is it okay if we jump around a little bit?
I don't care.
It doesn't matter if we go in order. So let me find it real quick. Sorry, I can cut this out. It's fine. Because I need to find this, even though I had it marked. But
The truth is, part of me is every age. How can I be envious of where you are when I've been there myself? It's an interesting thought.
I feel like you can be envious about past things that happened to you.
Envious of yourself?
Envious
Well,
of
you
that
can't
time, of that moment.
I don't know about envious. You can be
I guess it would be a
reminiscent.
different
You
word.
can't be because you can't be jealous of something you did in the past. That's
You can be jealous
you
about how
can
you...
miss it. You can't be jealous.
Okay,
Yeah, he does preface that with saying, yes, of course,
Although I do
sometimes
miss
I
it.
do feel that, but how could I be when I hold on to this as true? Yeah, so it's
Okay.
another one of those, like,
Yeah.
the use of faith in order to overcome sin,
Yeah.
although he's not a Christian and he doesn't use that terminology. It is what he's doing. He's saying, I choose to believe this because it saves me from that,
Yeah.
and that's the discipline of faith,
Right.
really.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I didn't
Kinda.
use the right words.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't be. You can be. He
Your
could
words
be.
are fine. Don't even worry about it. Don't even sweat it, dog.
Thanks, man.
Don't even-
Stop.
You can be envious of other people that are doing those things, but you can't really be envious of your past self doing those things.
Yeah. It's not envy, it's longing.
It's like reminiscent,
Yeah.
and you miss it. Yeah, I mean that happens. The quote, the quote I was looking for before that cut, because I'm sure I cut part of that out because I was not talking, was, why do people always say, "Oh, if I were young again"? You never hear people say, "I wish I were 65." And then Morrie responds, and he says, "You know what that reflects? Unsatisfied lives, unfulfilled lives. Lives that haven't found meaning, because if you've found meaning in your life, you don't want to go back. You want to go forward. You want to see more, do more. You can't wait until 65. So how do you guys feel about Morrie's statement that if you, as an old person, wish you were young again, that means you didn't have an unfulfilled life or an unsatisfied life? Because I kind of disagree with that. Because just because you reminisce and wish you had something from a long time ago doesn't mean you didn't enjoy it while it was there.
When I hear about older people wishing they were young again, it's almost always about their physical health.
Yeah.
Or about how they look.
Yeah.
It's usually an insecurity about either like he said like when who's the guy that's visiting him? What's his name?
Mitch Albom.
Okay, Mitch. Yeah. When
guy
Mitch
that-
said he was driving to Morrie's house and he's seeing all these billboards with all the young people to market to older people, saying like, if you have this product, you'll feel young again, or you'll stuff like that. I feel like that's more you'll look this way than you'll feel this way, or it's both.
Yeah.
But when I hear about what people want in youth, I want to look better because it's an insecurity of everyone that of physical attraction, I guess, and it's a stigma that younger people just look more attractive. Which I can't relate to because I'm just so attractive.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You are.
So look, Audubon, you saying it's a stigma that young people look attractive.
Do you know
I guess not stigma. It's not
Stigma
a
isn't
stigma.
the right
It's
word
a
to use.
I would have
stereotype.
been really interested in if you meant stigma.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have disagreed depending on what that means.
Yeah. It's a stereotype.
I mean, I
Is
don't
that the right
know
word?
if I would completely agree, because, I mean, looking is definitely a thing, but I imagine it's a lot about feeling younger rather than just looking it, because, like, I imagine when you're, I don't know, 80 and you can't just run down the street anymore, I'd want to be able to run down the street. Like, I'm not going to right now, but I enjoy the fact that I know I can if I wanted to. So I imagine I would reminisce and miss the fact that I used to be able to just run if I wanted to. But does that mean I lived an unfulfilled or unsatisfied life? I don't think so. I don't think missing your younger life means that your life was had no meaning.
Yeah.
What do you think?
When I look back on my life, there are. I think it's accepting that I'm like human and that I'm finite and that like you're given a life and you're living a life. And I look back on like I think like high school stuff. There are things that I chose to do in high school that no one else chose to do, or that a lot of people didn't choose to do, and things that I didn't choose to do that a lot of people chose to do. And I look back, and there's a ton of stuff I'm ashamed of the things that I said I've done. A ton of stuff that I'm proud of the things that I said and did. But as I kind of turn memories over in my head, the time when like I feel overcome with peace and gratitude and love are the times when I look back with a fondness and say like I was given my time and I chose to do this with my time, and other people did this thing that was better, and I'm happy because they did that was better, and I did this thing that was good too, and I forgive myself for the things that I said and did, and I forgive others for the things that were said and done to me. And I think the same way over my time in college with my college friends. Like, I didn't bring my quote thing. Isaiah Berlin says something along the lines of, to make any decision at all is to like bear the death of 1,000 other things that could have been. Something along those lines. Mm-hmm. I really like Isaiah Berlin. Mm-hmm. And looking back, I that feels like hopeful with like tons of mistakes working in ministry and like having to bear the brunt of ways that like I know that I allowed myself to be put in a position where other people open themselves to me in a unique and vulnerable way, and I hurt them, and then didn't see them again, and they, for all I know, they still bear that hurt. And I know of no better way to move forward than to say, like, I have to, there's no good that comes from not forgiving myself. And if I see that person again, it's like, try to reconcile with them. And if they don't forgive me, I have no choice but to forgive myself, because to not do the same thing as we were talking about the discipline of faith, to believe that it's true that I am forgivable and that's forgivable.
My only I agree. My only response to that is easier said than done.
Of course.
Yeah.
Forgiving yourself? Oh, yeah.
So if you had an answer to what's the step before forgiving yourself, what would it be?
Beating the crap out of yourself.
Okay.
I'll
write that down.
Yeah. Do you mean what's the step or what's my step? My step is
your
punish
opinion
myself forever, and then when I can't do anything because that's all I do all day, every day, I figure out there needs to be something else that happens.
So,
I don't suggest that.
clear the way for change, are you saying? Because the only thing that
Slash and burn the field
Yeah.
so you can see everything that's there. I don't know. There's a thing that he said.
Hold
I
on.
switched.
The camera just turned off. I feel
We
like
lost
it's-
like 15 minutes there.
Yeah.
We lost probably a minute. Probably. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just... What I did... the
That was
last time
more
this
than a minute.
happened... Are you sure?
I'm positive. We answered like a question and a half.
The last time this happened was actually the last time you were on the podcast, and instead of getting rid of everything that happened in between, I just put a black screen with an explanation and let the audio run. So we can still do that.
Oh, because we have the audio.
Because we still have audio rolling.
Great. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll
Let's
just
just do
put it- I'll
that.
just
So I
put
don't
it-
have to
I'll-
repeat and...
I'll just put
They've
a text.
seen me.
Yeah, I'll just put a text box.
I'm power clashing
during
You're
because I
like-
can.
That was probably only like a minute, but I'll put a text box with a black screen and leave the audio running and say, hey, we had some problems.
Don't look at the timer. I want you guys to guess how long you think that was. You were wrong. It was actually 3 minutes 58 seconds.
You're wrong, and now you have to leave the
I think it
podcast,
was
right?
only a minute.
Anyway, I think there was a natural turning point there. I switched off of my... He responds to it himself. I switched off my, this conversation page.
Okay.
He says, aging is more than decay, it's growth. Is that the thing that was relevant to what we were just saying?
Yep. No,
Yeah.
I was going to quote that as a response as well.
Yep.
I have a thing to go off of the part of me is every age, whenever that comes up again. But
It'll come up. That's a good one.
yeah, that's like, I said this to high schoolers a lot back in the day of just being like getting the question all the time of like, does it get easier? And there's a quote that I always thought of when I heard that, which is that it doesn't get easier, but you get better, you get stronger.
Okay.
And
What a dumb question.
then what?
I'm just kidding.
That's kind of a dumb answer. And someone called me out on that, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And then I thought about that conversation for a long time. What I think to have said and then never said to anyone was, if that was you and you remember it, let me know.
We'll put Scott's number in the description.
Yeah. And his
Just
address.
give him my home address, and then you can just come knocking on my door.
There we go.
I'm angry.
He's probably recording a podcast, so you can just join in.
Yeah. That's just yell through the window and assume something is being recorded. Was to a high schooler was to say, like, think about who you were in junior high, and think about all the ways you've changed. Like, imagine the change between a 7th grader who remembers the way they were in 7th grade and like a senior in high school. And it's like, think about everything that was so huge to you then, and like how easy that is now. It's like it becomes the same. Like my problems in high school. Like, man, if I go back to high school, I would just rule anything I wanted to.
Because you know more.
Everyone's so
dumb.
A specific way. I don't think everyone's dumb.
Yeah.
But a specific way where it's just like oh, I'm secure in an area where you're insecure necessarily and must be to learn how to become secure.
Yeah, the point is you had to go through that insecurity to learn from it. That's why high schoolers are like that, because they haven't gone through that yet. So they haven't had anything to learn from.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see like your older siblings or whatever going through it, but going through high school yourself is worse than that. But no,
better.
And better. There are good things about high school. I agree with pretty much everything you just said.
Thank you.
Scott 26, Noah 1.
When did I win?
You got one. Rams said, yeah. Let's take a drink over here. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, to me, to play. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Sorry.
No, don't ever give me this again. This is terrible.
We've learned our lesson.
We gave it to you last time.
It's like kissing a bird.
Why do you know what kissing a bird is like?
Imagine it! And then do this. It's the exact same thing.
I'm not going to do that. I don't want to drink out of that.
Well,
I
drink
don't
out of this
wanna
and you can't
use
stop
it.
imagining it. Continue with your statement. Gonna go from the side here.
Okay. To play... Oh, jeez.
Everyone's gonna think you're crazy. No one can hear
You're a
anything.
terrible host.
I'm going to up the audio just so
He's a terrible host.
How am
29.
you just went from 26 to 29?
That's killing it.
Go ahead.
Get in the comments. Tell me how many did I get there. Keep it big. Numbers. How many numbers did I get
This is
there?
the worst episode ever.
No, it's not.
It's a pretty
Go
bad
back
one.
and listen to 1 through 5.
Good point.
One. I went back and listened to one a while ago. It wasn't as bad as
No. You were making a point and it was good.
To play off of what you were saying, I imagine problems kind of scale as your life goes on. Problems, like you were saying, problems in middle school to us now are nothing. There's stuff in middle school that was so huge to us that now just doesn't, we can handle that super easily, or they're not even problems for us anymore. Where was I going with this? I had a point. Problem scale.
And the natural conclusion, what you're saying is like, I have all these problems that feel unovercomable.
In 10 years, these problems won't be as heavy as they are now.
And yes, you will have new problems,
probably
but
my conclusion.
with experience and growth, it'll be easier.
You just know you'll get through them, and 10 years after that, you'll be like, wow, my problems weren't that bad back then. Because I've learned from them, and I know how to handle them now.
It's weird because there's times in current states where you think that you'll know the most, or I know way more than I have than I did in high school, and I can't. There are times where I can't even see growth, if that makes sense. But then I look at even a year of experience makes that thought even seem stupid, you know. It just, growth is both long term and short term is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I'm thirsty, but this is just punishing me for being thirsty.
Well, if you leave the audio in,
Yeah.
it's called a callback. It's called a callback with no support.
I
Comedy.
That was
agree
a
with-
bank shot and no one to alley-oop there. All right.
I have another
agree
quote.
with what you're
Uh,
saying, Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. My quote is, okay, I said, I'm wondering how you don't even feel envy for younger, healthier people. And then he responds, oh, I guess I do. I envy them being able to go to health club or go to the swim, or dance, mostly for dancing. But envy comes to me. I feel it, and then I let it go. Remember what I said about detachment? Let it go. Tell yourself, that's envy. I'm going to separate from it now and walk away. So I read that being like, there's no way it's that easy. Feeling an emotion and then just saying, I don't want to feel this emotion, and then stop feeling it. How is that easy for you guys? Like, do you ever just tell yourself out of a thought, this is what the emotion I'm feeling. I don't want to feel this emotion, so I'm not going to feel it, and then it just goes away.
I suppose this one is a little bit context, and like you said earlier, you haven't read the entire book. But when he says, remember what I said about detachment, that is referencing something. That is an actual callback, a real one, to something earlier in the book.
You know about real callbacks.
Yeah. That's a callback.
To punishing yourself. That was directly what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Unless you cut it out. Keep going.
I might.
There's a
This
whole
is such
chapter on emotions.
There is an
specifically.
entire chapter on
Okay.
emotions.
It's really
and
good,
he talks heavily about detachment. And in that chapter, he doesn't say, I'm just not going to feel this. He says, I'm feeling it, but I'm going to walk away from it in the sense that I'm not going to let it control what I'm doing. I still feel this emotion. I feel envy. And I recognize that what I'm feeling now is envy, but I'm going to step back from it and not let it control what I'm doing. So it's not so much that he's making himself not feel this emotion, it's that he's recognizing what it is and not letting him control his actions.
Okay.
So he still feels envy or whatever else he talks about, anger, hatred, whatever else he talks about in the earlier chapter. He feels it, but then he examines it and he says, okay, I know exactly what I'm feeling, and I'm going to step back from that now. And I'm going to focus on what I'm doing now rather than letting my emotions control me. Yeah.
Okay. That answers my question.
Yes. I hoped it would.
Mm. Cool. That was my quote.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys before we started, but you kind of just jumped right into it. In general, how do you guys feel about aging? Like, what are your thoughts on just the idea of aging?
You're older.
That's true. I'm older than both of you.
Not
Combined
Not
divided by 1.5.
Yeah.
I didn't do the math, but you don't know how old I am, so you don't know if it's true.
Probably 28. Maybe.
Maybe.
All the stuff that I didn't do in my life, I feel like I've accepted, and like I've had a reason to not do it, and those reasons I try to. Gratifying thing for me is to, like, when I think through my reasonings, let them, like, echo across time in, like, the past and future and be like, would this reason for doing this hold in, like, the year 3000 BC and AD? And part of that is, like, allows you to enter a fraternity of sorts of people throughout time. And so, like, I listen to people's music who don't do music or have died, or read people's books that were from thousands of years ago. And, like,
I'll be right back. You can keep talking. Sorry.
Cool. He'll listen to it on the edit.
True.
And find like a place of empathy with them. And it's like not drinking until I was 21, people acted like that was a huge sacrifice, and it wasn't at all for me. But, like, you find all sorts of, like, writings or like the choice to not have sex before you're married. That decision, you find, like, writings from any point in time, and that's always deemed a spiritual practice.
Got it.
And that is always deemed to be an enormous loss, and that comes with enormous, like, benefits. And then you can, like, hold to, like, these fraternities of cross time that you can be a part of, and then, like, contribute into as well. That's another one of the reasons why that makes it easy for me to look at the past and be like, I accept the things that I did and didn't do, and am at peace with that. But yeah, I am not 30, but I'm turning 30 in not that long a time, and I have no qualms about it. There's no, like, oh, before I'm 30 I have to. I feel pretty good with where I'm at. If I was turning, like, 80, I'd be like, I used up all my money 75 years ago. How did I survive?
It's actually interesting, the different perspectives of age, because we just turned 20. My friends back at home are all turning 20, and are always saying the next 10 years will be the most eventful years ever.
How you being on the edge of oblivion, how does that statement ring for you?
I got distracted because I went to take a drink and it spilled out all over me through the mouth.
Here's the thing,
that I can't use anymore.
I decided to ignor that, and then he was laughing at it.
I really
I decided to target you.
spill on myself a lot as a person.
Yeah.
My life's completely together except for one area.
Okay.
Drinking?
My drinking problem.
Not alcohol.
No,
just really
the
bad
act
at
of
drinking.
Yes, absolutely is the case.
Yeah.
What was your question?
It wasn't a question. I was just saying.
I formed it into a question, but it actually, I thought it would be funny because, never mind. The actual question is his friends
My friends are pointing out the fact that the 20s are known to be the decade of your life to be the most eventful concerning career, romantic relationship, starting a family, etc. And they're freaking out about it because of it.
So I initially thought you were laughing.
Because they're like, I'm not having enough fun.
I initially thought you because they're all turning 20. So they're all.
Oh, you're going into 20.
All his friends are going into his 20s. I thought you were initially laughing about that because his friends said that this decade is going to be the most eventful of their lives. Mm-hmm. So
I dumped LaCroix all over myself. That's what I was laughing at. And I knew it came. Yeah.
But that actually is kind of a decent question. Now that you're coming to the end of your 20s, mm-hmm. How does that statement apply? Like, do you feel that that's true, or do you think how does that?
Also, I wanted to ask: did you feel the same way when you turned 20?
If you would have asked me when I was 20. I was much more religious than I am now, and I would have said that the
define religious.
No. Okay. I think I will let my if you want to ask that question after I say what I'm going to say. Okay. I had this conversation with my mentor at the time, Pat, and he said he said almost the exact same thing. He went to Biola. Okay. He said the same thing of like he was like leaving college and he's like this is what everyone says is like the most memorable, so it's like strange for me. And my response was, necessarily a life devoted to Jesus, you grow in Him, and every day and every year gets better than the last. And so long as you remain devoted to Him, like pleasant things or whatever the pleasures of the world or whatever that offers like pales comparison. It's like for like the wisdom that I'll have at 50, I'll give up this any day. Okay. Is what I would say. I definitely don't say that anymore. People can think they're devoted to Jesus and be driving their life straight into hell, mm-hmm. for sure. Yeah. And people can say that they're not devoted to Jesus and be growing closer to Him without even knowing it as well. Mm-hmm. And that's an a-religious statement, I think. So that's what I would have said when I was 20, because it is what I said when I was 20. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's also a thing where I was just like, it's kind of like a cringy thing to have looked back on having said. So because it's
basically what you said is, as long as I stay committed to a life of living for Jesus, I will be fulfilled. Is that what you mean? Or like I won't let the earthly things that come.
Yeah, I can give or take pleasures of on the earth, and I don't think that's true. I think you have a more responsibility to enjoy the pleasure that's given to you.
I think that's part of the life of Jesus, the life for Jesus.
Sure, yeah. And therefore, it's not then how if you're living the life of Jesus, it's how what you're defining the life that you're pursuing and whether or not you're committing to pursuing the life that you think is better.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a non-religious. Then it just becomes the question of being human, and it's a question that everyone's faced with, not just religious people.
But life for Jesus isn't objective. That's the thing. It's everyone's life, whether religious or not, is devoted to something, and it's subjective to that person. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if a religion tries to define this is how you should live your life, I think that's like in terms of step by step, then there can't be as much of fulfillment in that, I guess. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. So yeah, I like that answer.
But
it wasn't my answer.
The answer.
that was what my answer would have been.
But what's your answer?
Which I think was asked, and if not, that's embarrassing.
Because I feel like I asked. He did. I feel like that's a decent question for you now. Though, now that you are at the end of your 20s, how does that?
I would have enjoyed it more. I would have I don't know. Actually, that's hard to say. It's another one of the sacrifice things. Like I didn't feel comfortable really pursuing romantic relationships while in a position of spiritual leadership because so many people had unhealthy relationships with people in spiritual leadership. Mm-hmm. And so that part of my life was really played down. Not non-existent, but not. Yeah, sure. I mean, but I also didn't really talk to you guys about it.
No, you didn't.
Ever. At all.
Which would have been inappropriate if you had.
Sure, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's the specific question?
Now that you're at the end,
End of
of your 20s,
Yeah.
how do you
in
feel?
a year and a half, I will be. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're rounding.
Sure.
How do you feel about the idea of Jordan's
Oh,
friends that are now coming into their 20s? They're saying this is going to be the most eventful decade of our lives and that kind of thing.
Okay, eventful. I don't think is the right word.
Okay.
I think like maybe exciting because you are learning to be independent. You're learning like everything in your life. You don't realize how dependent on everyone that you are, and you're learning to take responsibility for your own being. And you're learning to like, what am I?
No, you're right.
You're learning like what it takes to continue living and how much you relied on, and then you start resenting your parents, even though on the path to realizing that you've completely relied on them, you resent them for the way that they did the things they did. It's a very interesting, strange situation. Yeah, you have like as soon as you realize the way that your parents messed you up, you have like a 1 year stint to kind of bellyache about it before it's like, now you just didn't take responsibility for yourself because like
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I feel like I've already gone through something like that, but and then I always turn to, okay, but they did this for this reason, and it was always out of love, even though it didn't feel like it, even if it messed me up a little bit.
I would agree, but I don't know if that's, and I might be wrong about this, I don't know if that's exactly what Scott was getting at.
Okay.
I think once you realize how your parents messed you up, now it's your job to fix that.
Oh.
And
Yes.
if you have
Yes,
a
yes,
year,
yes.
you have...
your parents do impact you.
Yeah.
But there's no perfect way to do it, and they will impact you in a negative way necessarily because to make a decision is the death of 1,000 different things,
Yeah.
and they're
Okay.
imperfect. And
Maybe it was loving, maybe it wasn't, but after you figure that out, it's your job
That's
to
what
become
you-
better. It's
yeah,
no
yeah.
longer their
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
The
I messed up
resentment
in
comes
this
from
way.
the fact that it happened.
Yeah, they did that, and now I messed up in this way.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, and now I know, and now it's no longer their responsibility.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
an
yeah,
adult.
yeah.
It's
now.
not
Yeah,
their
yeah.
fault anymore
Yeah.
because
Gotcha.
you can change yourself.
And that's a process that starts in
Yeah,
like
it
the
just happened.
teenage
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
and, yeah.
Takes time.
Fulfilled.
Yeah.
And,
And that's the respect your elders as a principle is kind of held there, I think, because that's a non-intuitive thing to do, and it's a very faith-driven thing to do. Of like, yeah, I wish I would have respected my parents way more in the times when I felt like they deserved it the least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. How I feel about my 20s? I look at how my friends are reacting to it, and I'm like, I feel like I have a lot of type A friends of like, this is what I want at this time. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to freak out. So I feel like I'm accidentally applying that to them being freaked out about their 20s. So I think it's unfair to me to say that I'm not afraid of my 20s, or I'm not scared of what's going to happen, because I don't know. I take pride of living in the moment and going with the flow, in which I don't freak out when bad things happen. And of course there's bad things that come with that, but I'm good at taking a bad situation and putting a positive spin to it, where people that I know that are type A and try to plan things get disappointed when bad things happen, and negative things come from that. So I guess I'm trying not to freak out about my 20s is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Which is probably smart.
What are you freaked out about?
Not freaked out, more scared of the change that is inevitable.
Not freaked out, more scared.
Scared.
So what change
sorry.
are you? Yeah. No. That's that you did
Yeah.
continue doing the actual thing. So what are you scared of specifically? Or don't answer that on a camera. That's also fine.
Important decisions that I have to make. I guess that's...
Yeah, because even if it's not necessarily eventful, at this time in our lives, most of the time that takes place in people's 20s, which is probably why everyone thinks that the 20s are the most eventful part of your lives. But there are a lot of big decisions that we either have to make or are told that we have to make. Like
career,
schools, careers, relationships,
Yeah.
and stuff. A lot of
Kids.
pressure is placed on
Money.
the 20s, I believe, on like that decade of our lives, saying in this decade, these are the things that you'll be figuring out and you will be setting in place.
and if you don't, you'll be unfulfilled.
Exactly. If you don't, your life won't be what you want it to be and all that stuff. So do I think that the 20s are the most eventful parts of our lives? I mean, potentially. Any decade could be. But my opinion on it is that we're told so much that they are that sometimes it sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, we try to make the most happen because it's supposed to, according to how we were raised and everything. I'm not necessarily... Thank you for asking. I'm not necessarily scared about my 20s. That was my joke.
Did you want someone to ask you that?
No. I mean...
No, or how are you feeling right now?
I'm not necessarily scared about my 20s. I mean, I am more of a type B person, though I don't really like doing the whole type A, type B thing, because I think people are different.
There's 9 ways to characterize them, not 2.
Don't... If you say the Enneagram...
I would never say that. No. I wrote my own, and it's the best. It's a scale of how much I like you.
Okay. 2.
You're both 9s.
I was... is that like a 1 to 9 or like a 1 to 9?
Let's move on.
I was gonna say is like Scott at the top, but I was also gonna...
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Scott.
Okay,
I was gonna say, would you put Scott at the top or bottom?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's still ambiguous.
I still don't know if Scott's good or not. I don't know where we were going.
I'm here as a villain
not-
that's still not overcome. You
I
keep
don't know
on
if
showing
you
me
said
undeserved respect for
You're
some
not scared
reason.
of your 20s and you're type B.
I am sort of a type B person. That's where I was going. So I'm kind of like, not like I'm just gonna let my life happen and do whatever, but I'm more like whatever happens, I'll roll with it. So I'm not necessarily so nervous. Because I mean things are gonna happen no matter what. And again, that's not just me. I'm not just gonna sit here and wait for things to happen. I'm saying if something happens, it's gonna happen. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'm not necessarily scared for aging, I suppose. There are things I am afraid of for aging, because that was the initial question before we got into the 20s talk. I just said, how do you guys feel about aging in general? I'm not scared isn't the right word. I am nervous for certain things aging, because there are a lot of big decisions and stuff that come with aging.
I wish I played more sports in high school.
I'm okay that I didn't. I played a year of football and I was done. I didn't need to.
I wish I underwent more team sport physical activity kind of
Team
community.
sports are... I think team sports are a good developmental thing.
But I did say to myself, okay, I'm part of communities that I like and that I love and that I'm growing in. Therefore, I don't really need to force myself into any other one. That was my...
I mean, yeah,
mindset.
you had friends and you had groups of people that you were with, and they weren't a sports team, but they were people that you affiliated with and you did things with. Yeah. So it's not like you were a complete loner in high school.
No.
You still did social things.
Why I say that's because the only thing that I would say I fear aging for is physical activity when I was younger. I'm
afraid of, like, if something like what happened to Morrie happens, like we were talking about earlier, it is a little bit scary, but I mean, there's nothing... I try not to dwell on stuff like that too much, even though that could happen to any one of us, but there's nothing we can do about it, and that's kind of one of my philosophies. Obviously not for my entire life, but for things like that, I'm just kind of like, there's nothing I can do about it, so I dwell on it now. But that might be the wrong thing to do. Maybe you should think about it. I'm going to be honest. You might need to think about it. I don't know. What I was gonna say, I was making a joke earlier, but I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, you got such a setup. Now hit that punchline. It's gonna be so good.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I've subtly shifted my weight this way, so now we're both looking at you. In the sense that we're taking the podcast.
Good luck. This is mine. I'll never give it away.
The retake.
Subtly shifted my weight, and I've been looking at you this whole time.
Wait. That's been Scott Knows Book Club
No!
featuring Jordan Kakic.
No!
Moving on.
There
we go. Now it can end.
I mean, we're not done yet, but I mean,
Define religious.
unless we want to be. Oh yeah, you said you would define religious.
Define religious.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, this episode doesn't have to have a time limit, by the way, because it's a special episode. So
My time limit is that I need to be back.
No, I'm saying it like if we want to end it
for-
early, we don't
yeah.
have to do like a minimum. We can end it.
Oh,
if
got
we
it.
want. Yeah, it doesn't because it's a special whatever. So it doesn't
I got my podcast names.
Oh yeah, let's. Oh, and I'm gonna look. You guys talk about that, and I'm gonna look for the text message because I don't think you texted me.
I did, and
Okay,
you
what
said,
should I look up?
"Oh, it's one of these two."
Which chat? That was a while ago, though.
Okay, that's not the right device.
Look up Morrie.
Okay, that wasn't.
Who do you trust?
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Your
both.
good friend Scott, Mr. Quantity,
You have labeled yourself as the villain multiple times.
or the guy trying to rip the podcast out of
But
my
it's already
hands.
mine. Oh, I mean, I am trying to rip it out of your hands.
I'll leave it to you, audience.
You
I'll
guys have
leave
been
it to
with
you.
me forever, and he's the villain. He
He's
has
trying
long-
to
he has
create
long
some
hair,
sort of
look at him.
weird trauma bond, like devotion, parasocial devotion to you.
Hey.
Don't let him do that.
It's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Not when they can just go to the little tab and hit the X button.
Yeah. He has long hair, which means he's the villain, so...
It's a good
Is
point.
that true? Think about it.
Yeah, you've seen movies, right?
Yep, Red Skull.
I don't know what that is.
Is the villain from Captain America 1. He's bald.
Anyone watch A Bug's Life? It's too bad. Not happening this time.
I was actually, that's one thing I was going to do, too. Don't forget, next week is Winter Soldier and Bug's Life.
Yeah.
That's next time.
Well,
That's
what's your
next week.
titles for your podcast?
Yeah.
I almost called it parasocial
Okay.
because that's I'm excited to find out what weird psychological problems we're ingraining ourselves with
Yeah,
by
yeah.
thinking that all of our best friends are people that I don't know. At least for those people,
Yeah.
let alone everyone else. You don't know me unless you've met me, and then you probably have me figured out. I'm not very deep. I was gonna say so the idea is I'm just trying to figure out like a medium to get used to like talking on mic and stuff, and then like explore different ideas. So a lot of like trying to find puns off the word like episodic and like things like that.
Sonic.
Of Epic
The
Sonic,
Hedgehog.
the
Epic
podcast.
Hedgehog.
Episodic.
Nope.
Epic Sonic.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna write that down real quick, but don't. I didn't do. No, there's no way. Anyway, check out Epic Sonic podcast.
Starring Scott Bruton.
As Sonic.
It's audio only, but you'll know how I'm dressed. Trying My Hardest was gonna be one because
That's a great title.
yeah, that was probably close to runner up.
Yeah.
We Hate Things 2. The We Hatening.
We hate.
All yeah.
We too hate two things too.
Mm-hmm.
Ratatouille. That's what the sequel's gonna be called.
The Rise of
So the concept,
Skywalker.
yeah, the concept now is like gross. We are in a pandemic. I'd like to remind you.
He's not gonna drink that. I just don't want it. I don't like it.
I'm just gonna do like 6-episode short like series of like a concept.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like go on to the next. So what I have planned right now is that I'm going to do just normal like question answer interview just to like figure out if my mics work or I know how the recording software works because I don't know, and I'm about to leave to record my first episode right now. I'm doing a series called Post Evangelical where a lot of my friends are leaving the evangelical church, so I'm gonna just talk to them like and just ask questions. Why'd you join? Why'd you leave? And where'd you go? And see what people are doing. Because I'm not sure the evangelical church is going to last like another 10 years. But we'll see.
Really? That's a
Yeah.
bold claim. Okay.
Well, tune to the podcast. I don't know if it's a real church. We'll talk about it.
I agree, but I would need some more explanation on your part. But
that's why we
might
need to
be able to
watch.
see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's like I have a friend who's like studying church history really in depth, and he's also very smart that I'm probably going to get on. and we talked at length about like what constitutes a church's like authority, and like the entire evangelical system is like it's just anarchy. It's just not connected to the larger church at all. Anyone who can sell a book gets to be big, and then they have the entire church authority for themselves.
Yep.
And that's just straight up undeniable.
Yeah.
That's just like, and then where do you blur the line between is that a cult or not? Because it sure seems like a cult.
It's weird to think that it might be definition of cult and religion is the kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Every
So it's
religion was
2.
once a cult.
3 is I'm gonna get my married friends and then interview them alone and ask them the same questions, like have written questions and have to ask them, and then just like try to get them to like say stuff, and then try to, and this might not work out. But
I remember you said it's awesome.
Oh, did I say it on the podcast?
I don't know if you said
okay.
it. Say it anyway.
But try to take quotes that they say about the other person and put that into a piece of art, whether it's a song or whatever works out. We'll see. Whatever it felt like in the moment. We got then we got like just I have a lot of like quotes that I'm really into. Quotes or
the married life one.
One of the last things before I left for Washington I said is, because I was gonna go perform a wedding ceremony for my friends, is that you made me promise to one day marry you and Jack.
Yeah.
And then I left. Yeah. It would be a very interesting end episode to just be like, and how does this person make you feel? Oh,
awful.
I
can't spend more than 10 minutes.
That would be very interesting.
That would be so
it would be
funny.
very interesting because I'm trying to hit like hard hitting questions that like are you can't get around them, and
that
then I just follow questions. But it's just like, how would friends go up against the same questions?
You should interview us separately after us not having seen each other for the last 9 months, and then just see what happens.
What's your favorite thing about his appearance? What's he look like? I forgot.
I don't remember.
He has a song.
He has hair.
Yeah, I think I got a couple more in there, and then a Me Without You podcasts coming.
Yeah,
but it's a separate thing.
I'm worried about being on your podcast because you're definitely going to have, like you said, like that guy you were talking about, people that are much smarter than me. And I have a big problem mentally with people that are smarter than me. That's the thing.
Well, you wouldn't be with him. You'd be with me.
No, I know. I wouldn't
I
be
am
with him. I
just
would
dumb
just be on
enough
the
that I make
same show as him.
everybody comfortable. Dumbest person in the
Luckily,
room.
I wouldn't be with him. If I was with him, that'd be even worse.
Yeah. He doesn't live down here, though, so.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to be on, DM me on Instagram.
Same with us. If you want to be on the podcast, DM us or just text us.
Yeah, it's all practice, and it's not going to go well for the first several episodes, so it's fine with me.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I got to DM somebody real quick.
Don't give them the satisfaction.